Hi, everybody. I'm Pete Krupski, the voice of USA Hockey's National Team Development Program. You're watching CTV Sports. Coming up next on CTV, it's the Sports Guys with our good friends Steve, Chuck, and Rod. Don't miss it.
And good morning, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Sports Guys for the week of June 15th, 2025, as we move into the middle of summer and ever closer to that Lions football season. We'll get into some interesting Michigan football in a little bit. But first, we want to start with our trivia question for the week. And with the Tigers kicking butt and taking names, we want to know, they are tied. This Tigers team is tied for the second fastest to 40 wins in Tigers history in the last 70 years at 61 games. What year were they the fastest to 40 wins?
Oh.
And I heard somebody say one of the years that you would think it would be, but it is not. Pre-show. So
Okay.
That's like the
keep on thinking about that, and we'll reveal the answer later on in the show.
Nice.
Breaking news last night, if anybody caught the Sunday night baseball game, the Giants have cut a deal with the Red Sox to bring Rafael Devers from the Red Sox over to San Francisco for Kyle Harrison and Jordan Hicks and a couple of prospects. The deal was announced, or not even announced, the deal was rumored at about 15 minutes before ESPN went on the air last night.
Wow.
And so they had, it was all, Kyle Harrison was scheduled to start for the Giants. And then all of a sudden, he was not starting anymore, and the guy with a really fantastic mustache ended up starting for the Giants last night. So it was quite the bombshell. But Rafael Devers, who I don't know if some of you have heard the story, was asked very politely to play first base because the Red Sox first baseman was out, and he said, not so politely, not on your life. And so the relationship between him and his team soured quite quickly. So this was his get-out-of-town card. I'm pretty sure the Red Sox couldn't part with him enough. The problem for the, not problem for the Giants, but the issue for the Giants is he's in year 2 of an 8-year-ish deal.
250 million.
Oh, I thought it was 313.
That was the original signing.
All right,
It's
so they're on the hook for
250
250. Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, the Giants can use the bat in the middle of the lineup. So, I mean, it's a good trade for them. They have decent pitching without these two guys. So, but it'll be interesting to see if he starts tomorrow in the middle of their lineup, where he is at in the lineup, and what position he plays, if any. Yeah. They were saying on ESPN last night that if you're the current DH of the Giants, you're going, huh? That's my job.
Yep.
So anyway, that's the big news in baseball over the last couple of hours. Quickly to the Tigers. We have to talk about the Tigers after yesterday. There's a lot more losses on this screen, guys, than there have been earlier in the season. I mean, everybody comes down to earth, so I'm not really worried.
Right. Yeah.
But yesterday worried me a little bit with the way they played. Chuck, how many errors did you say? They had 4 errors.
I said 5, but they just did 4.
No.
That broken bat when it came at Jose almost hit him right square in that face. They didn't call that an error.
Well, it's a hometown scorer, so but so a lot more losses on this screen than in previous weeks. So we'll keep an eye on them. But and then we'll go to the schedule real quick. The Pirates come into town tomorrow for a 3-game set, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then over the weekend, the Tigers head down to Tampa to play the Rays in the Yankees spring training stadium.
And the Rays are pretty hot right now.
They are pretty hot right now. The AL East, I think the Yankees are on top, but the Rays are kicking butt, and the Red Sox just aren't. So, yep, so we got 3 with the Pirates, 3 with the Rays coming up, and we'll talk about those next week. So let's move on to the Stanley Cup Final.
There you go.
And our 2 playoff series, the NBA and the NHL series, they're both excellent, excellent series so
No
far.
doubt.
Edmonton lost in Game 2 in double OT. I had kind of given up and was trying to go to bed, and then all of a sudden I heard on the radio some screaming and yelling, and it was like,
Oh.
oh, I missed it. But so 3 overtime games of the 5 so far,
Right.
and it's gone both ways. So Florida, I think Florida will edge out the Oilers. I think they're just a better team right now. They've got,
Definitely the favorites.
yeah, I mean, they've got 2 of the biggest names in hockey right now. So I think Florida edges it out, but you can catch Game 6 on Tuesday, and then if they need it, Game 7 on Friday. And then we'll go over to Steve for some of his news and notes. First, let's start with the NBA Finals, the Pacers and the Thunder, Steve.
There you go. We got the Pacers and the Thunder going at it. In game number 4, OKC won 111 to 104. And OKC put on a 12-1 run in the last 3 minutes of the game.
Whoa.
So I mean,
whoa.
it was back and forth and neck through the whole game, and all of a sudden, I don't know, Pacers went south. But yeah, so that kind of tied things up at 2-2, and they had Alexander. He put up 11 points in the last 3 minutes. Wow. So he really got hot at the end. 35 points overall. And so, like I say, that was on Friday, and like I say, so they're ready to head back to OKC to do Game 5 with everything all tied up. So
That's beautiful.
and in the hockey, that Edmonton, game number 4, Edmonton was down by 3 goals in the first period.
Yeah, yeah.
And they wound up tying it up once again with 19 seconds left in the game to send it to overtime. And that was Thursday. They wound up losing the game 5-4. And game number 5, so that tied things up. No, Florida was up. Anyway, game number 5, that the Panthers won 5-2, which is the first game that was actually done in regulation. Oh no, they had one other that was done in regulation.
Yeah, we won't count the beatdown.
You know,
in Game 3.
But so Florida's up now 3-1, and they're going to be playing in Florida, I believe, on Tuesday.
Hey.
So yeah, that might close them out right there. But like I say, the way Edmonton keeps coming back is really rather exciting. I mean, they keep things close right on down the line.
Well, it's interesting, you know, Edmonton's right in the middle of hockey country.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, those schools up there play hockey in kindergarten.
Oh,
so-
Canadian
Yeah.
hockey.
So
Oh,
the,
yeah, yeah.
the pool that they have to pick from
Right.
is so much. It's like some of the other sports and the southern
Right.
Yeah,
colleges
yeah.
or teams
Mhm.
that have all the people to pick from because of the weather. It's amazing that Florida, I guess Florida gets them just because a lot of the people want to go to Florida.
Yeah, that's a big part of it.
Yeah, but Canadian hockey is like a religion. You
Oh,
know,
it
I mean,
really
it's
is.
just-
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's
just
like
over
the
top.
NFL in this country. It really is. I mean, you know, you go, I was in Canada a few months ago, you go to any gas station or and it's just hats and clothes and,
Oh yeah.
you know, they got hockey players on the pop bottles.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you know,
for
it's,
sure. Yeah, but it's kind of surprising that the Florida team, because before the Panthers, there was the Tampa Bay who had a nice run with Yzerman at the general manager. And
I saw some stat that between Tampa and Miami, between Florida, the last 7 years, a Florida team has been in the final
wow, okay.
5 or 6 times.
Wow.
With one exception. So I mean, yeah, you said, Rod, would you rather go to, not that Detroit's not a hockey town, but would you rather go to Detroit and play your home games in the middle of the winter, or would you rather go to Florida and play your hockey and then go home and it's 80 degrees? So I know what I would choose.
Dive in the pool.
Yeah, right after your game. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but getting back to the Tigers for a minute, that like I say, they won 2 out of 3 against Baltimore last week, and Skubal pitched game number 3, and again, very nice pitching. He went 7 innings, 0 runs, 3 hits, and 6 Ks. But then they went to the Reds, Cincinnati Reds, and they actually kind of whipped them up the first game. They were up. They won the first game 11-5. But then, I don't know, something
happened.
Went south.
They went, oh, did they?
Yeah. Yeah, and then they lost 11-1 and 8-4 on Sunday. So, like I say, losing the series for the Tigers is
I think
unusual
it's
at this moment.
3rd or 4th series all season they've lost so far.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, they've been, like I say, they've been living on cloud 9 for sure. But that UFL, the MVP for the UFL was the Michigan Panthers quarterback, Bryce Perkins. And they announced that on Friday, the day before they went to the championship game. And Bryce didn't show up very well on,
No, he did not.
on Saturday. The Defenders, Washington Defenders, beat the Michigan Panthers 58-34. The most points scored in a championship game and 573 yards of offense.
Oh.
Yeah, really, the most ever in a championship game. So that was quite the turnaround. I don't think anybody was expecting that kind of.
The MVP must have been celebrating.
I was saying, did it go to his head? Or?
Yeah, like I said, it overlooked him. I mean, how can you go to a championship game?
And to be fair, I did not watch the game, but
Yeah, I didn't either.
I was gonna say, was it the DC defense? I'm talking hockey now. Was it the DC defense?
Fumbling.
A lot of
the ball,
fumbles.
yeah.
So our offense just
Turnovers. Yeah, turnovers will do it in a hurry for sure. But we also had the Caitlin Clark in the Indiana Fever came up and whipped down the undefeated New York Liberty 102-88. So that ended their they had a 9-game winning streak going coming out of the gate. And Caitlin Clark put up 32 points. And we also have the College World Series going on.
Did you figure that one out? Huh?
You know, right now they're in what they call a double elimination round. So they had on Friday, they had Carolina beat 7-4 against Arizona. And they also had Oregon State 4-3 against Louisville. And then on Saturday, they had LSU 4-1 against Arkansas. And UCLA 6-4 against Murray State. So now they go into the second elimination, and they started that yesterday where Louisville, who lost one, so they can't lose another one. They beat Arizona 8-3, and Coastal Carolina is the one that everybody's looking at. That they're supposed to be like the big gun this year. So. They beat Oregon State 6-2.
Oh, wow.
So, so they got a couple of more games on Monday. And let's see, one other one was the Gold Cup in soccer started. If anybody's watching that, it's like the Sunday's game that the U.S. Michigan's men team won 5-0 against Trinidad and Tobago. So you kind of take it with a grain of salt. Trinidad and Tobago are not like a powerhouse in the soccer world. So
Oh, I caught a little bit. I caught the post game show on that before the IndyCar race started, and apparently they call themselves TNT, Trinidad and Tobago.
I'll be.
Apparently they were looking for an upset because Team USA hasn't been hot as of late.
yeah.
So those kids on TNT were looking for some kind of
Payback.
revenge or some
Payback.
Yeah, 'cause
payback, but it didn't work out so well.
Yeah, because they came into the game on a 4-game losing streak.
Yeah,
So it's like not like they were setting the world on fire either.
yeah.
And like say to see them come up with 5 goals is like against anybody. It's like, yeah, we'll take it, you know. I mean, the start of the Gold Cup is a nice way to get started. You start with a loss, and it's an uphill battle the rest of the way for sure.
Well, and the World Cup is in North America. They're going to have games in Mexico, Canada, and the U.S. coming up next year.
Yeah.
In fact, I think we just passed the year mark to when it starts. So the U.S. team needs to get their crap together and start winning some games and getting into the qualifying season, because if Team USA does not make the Men's World Cup when we're hosting games, FIFA is not going to be happy.
There you go.
And you don't want to piss FIFA off because they know people.
There you go. So that's about wrap it up for. Oh, one thing in the NBA, the Angel Reese for the Sky actually got her first triple-double.
No, be darned.
How many people watch the WNBA? But she's kind of the
Star 1B, I guess you would say.
yeah, like say kind of thing. She's
She
definitely
is,
definitely a
Take
grinder
the
kind
card,
of
Yeah.
have it.
player. So yeah, it's like banging it around pretty good. So anyway, but so that should do it for me. There you go.
All right, Chuck, let's get into some
Okay, let's get
racing.
into some car racing. The only one that I was able to watch, of course, was last night's Indy Light, what I call it, out of Mexico, starting so late and ended at 12:02 this morning.
Wow.
I mean, that's really going in.
Well, no, it wasn't IndyCar in Illinois. The
Yeah, but what is this NX?
NASCAR was in Mexico City.
Okay, there was another one too. What is that? 2 IndyCar races.
Yeah, there's Indy Next, which is the AAA, basically.
Okay.
That was in the afternoon, and then IndyCar, the big leagues, was at 8 o'clock in St. Louis.
What a straight track. What a straight track, folks. And at that time of night, it was real easy to go sleepy by about halfway through. The major thing that they had problems with was little technical things. Maybe just a little chip went out, and that seemed to be the major problem. Seems to me that they would have a chip and then have a backup, but they don't. They don't have a backup.
You'd think, especially with that hybrid on the back of the car.
Yeah, yeah. Of course, they can only use it so much. So.
Yeah.
Now, NASCAR, where did they go?
NASCAR was in Mexico City on Sunday. First time since 1958 that they held a points-winning race outside of the United States.
Ah,
Fun trivia point, the last time it happened in 1958 was in Toronto, and it was Richard Petty's rookie race
whoa.
Oh wow.
back in 1958.
Wow.
Richard,
That's
don't
kinda
call me Dick.
Yep.
There you go.
Which he might be one. Shane Van Gisbergen was your winner in Mexico City. Christopher Bell came in second. I mean, Shane Van Gisbergen just put on a clinic. At one point, he was 15 seconds
Behind.
above the second place car. He was basically in a different zip code
Oh my
than the
God.
rest of the field.
Yeah. 15 seconds is forever.
Yeah, and the course there in Mexico City is really interesting because the start-finish line is about 2/3 of the way down one of the longest front stretches I've seen
Yeah.
in racing. And then the last few turns before you turn into that, you go through a stadium. So it's like literally they built a stadium. I don't know if they built it just for this race or what, but it's literally you come in and when you take the in-car camera, you can see them coming towards the grandstands, and like opens up like a vista. It was really cool, and then you go through a little S turn to get back to the front stretch. But it was really interesting to watch, and yeah, Gisbergen from Australia, he's from New Zealand, just put on an absolute clinic. Christopher Bell, 15 seconds later, hit the start-finish line, and then Chase Elliott, Alex Bowman, Michael McDowell, your top 5, and Denny Hamlin did not race in this race because his fiance just welcomed in their 3rd child, I believe.
Yeah.
So he wasn't going to travel internationally with his wife.
He may get killed in Mexico.
Yeah. So they, so Ryan Truex was your fill-in ran for Denny Hamlin. So that was pretty cool. So that was your NASCAR news, and then F1 really quickly. George Russell was your winner.
Hooray, Mercedes!
Max Verstappen came in 2nd.
Oh, man, what's up with that?
I got an alert on my phone last night or this morning that Verstappen's camp is challenging the finish of the race because apparently they went to caution right as the checkered flag waved or something, and Max Verstappen is arguing that he should have been able to pass George Russell for the win at the end of the race. So that all happened in the Great White North of Canada, in Montreal.
This has been arguing in that FS1.
But you know what? It makes for good TV, and it makes
yes.
for good fodder on social media, and everything's all about the clicks now. So
Yeah.
There we go.
So that's your motorsports update. And
No problem with tires.
no
This
problem with
time,
tires.
No problem. with
No, the
any-
only problem was in it was raining a little bit in the NASCAR race,
Oh well.
and some of the guys were running their slicks. And it's like, what are you doing? You're going to a track you've never been to before, running your slicks. You hit a puddle and you're in the wall, and that happened a couple of times.
Yeah.
But- So we move on to golf, and Rod, it was the Father's Day tradition.
There we go.
U.S. Open at Oakmont, which is one of the harder courses in the world.
Yes.
J.J. Spawn.
In fact, several of the golfers said it was the hardest course in the world.
Wow.
So
I'm sure Scheffler said that.
Spawn, J.J. Spawn, who's one of the kind of regular players that just comes out and earns a living, played very steady golf. And
Not good,
I
just
think
steady.
the thing that won it for him, early on, was the fact that he didn't make any bogeys.
Yeah, that'll help.
For the first 2 rounds, he was bogey free.
Wow.
And the only one in the group. It's a difficult course, and the weather was, particularly in the last couple of days, was not good. But as you can see, he won 1 under par. And that was because on the last hole of the day, he sank a 62-foot, 8-inch putt, which was really unbelievable.
Yeah, man.
He really didn't need it because second place, which was Scotland's McIntyre, he'd already finished at 1 over, so even par would have won it.
There you go.
But
That was a spectacular shot.
Oh.
Spawn is from Los Angeles. He's 34. He's won 1 other tournament, no majors. So, and he's a nice guy. And this was, I think, a popular win.
Nice.
But the other players that were up there were Victor Hovland, the Norwegian, Cameron Young, England's, Tyrell Hatton, and Mexico's Carlos Ortiz. So it was, you got it.
Yeah.
It was a pretty international finish. if
That's
you
good,
really
that's good.
wanna Come down to that. But I looked up, I Googled to find out how many, or when was the last time that somebody won a major or really any tournament
With 1 over.
over par.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And it turns out that in 2007,
Oh,
Zach Johnson won the Masters
At 1 over?
at 7 over.
7
my
over the
God.
Masters?
wow.
Well, it had to be.
Yeah.
Weather had to have
It
been
had to
garbage.
be weather.
Because that course is.
I did.
I mean,
Look,
not that I could get under par at the Masters, but you know,
Well, those greens are
they're
pretty
just perfect.
slick.
Yeah.
And of course, pin position can make a big
Especially on Sunday at the Masters.
difference.
Yeah.
And and the one before that was about 20 years, about 2005,
Oh,
at the course on Long Island
Oh.
in the U.S. Open. And I forget the name of the course. I just can't remember it, but it was like 6 or 7 over par.
wow.
And there were Nicholas and Steed and a couple other guys won some tournaments at 1 over or 2 over.
Yeah, I would say 7 over would be like the worst
Right.
Nobody's
ever
trying.
kind of thing.
Well, you got this one, they were bouncing all over the place during the week. And there was one time when there were 5 guys tied for first
Oh, wow.
at 1 over.
Yeah, man.
And Sam Burns was up there first or second for most of the time.
Wow.
And I think he had about a quadruple bogey the last day when the rain came, and that just
That blew it.
knocked him out.
Do they have to pay an entrance fee?
I don't know. I would assume.
Because, they're chosen.
Yeah, I mean, you get. For winning certain tournaments, you get. Like if you win the Masters, you're guaranteed a place in the Masters for life. If you win certain tournaments, you get entrance into like the U.S. Open for 5 years.
Okay.
Or there are different qualifications
Okay,
for
okay.
if you win other tournaments or
Okay.
come in certain places.
Yeah.
So that's probably their entrance fee, I would
Yeah.
guess.
That would
But
be.
if you're a-
remember last week,
The Canadian?
the Chilean, Joaquin Neiman, won the Live tournament, and the big thing that he was happy about was by winning it, he qualified for the U.S. Open.
Yeah.
he wasn't even close.
That explains that.
All right, we're going to take a quick break, and we will be back with more Sports Guys right after this.
Look at it. Look at that. Oh, Max, you broke it. No, don't do that. Bad boy.
Find out what we're made of when we are called to help our friends in need. You can count on me like 1, 2, 3, I'll be there.
And welcome back to this edition of the Sports Guys for June 16th, 2025. We just finished wrapping up the U.S. Open, the Father's Day tradition. We'll move into some tennis headlines. As grass court season begins, we're moving ever closer to the third major of the year, which is Wimbledon in England. And it looks like here a German qualifier. Tatiana Maria won the Queen's Club. She's 37 years old.
Whoa.
Seems like this is her first win on the tour.
I can imagine at 37, I mean, that's a tough sport.
Yeah.
And she beat out Madison Keys in the semifinal of that tournament.
Wow.
And then a German teenager, another one, a male. Looks like he went on an impeccable run. So if you want more on that, you can go to the AP's website. They've got all the tennis headlines for you. And then let's go to our trivia question.
There we go.
Oh, yes.
Get our answer. So the Tigers have had this strong early season performance. They are tied this year for the second fastest team in Tigers history to 40 wins in the last 70 years, and that's at 61 games. What year were they fastest to 40 wins?
Okay, 84.
32.
1932, interesting.
56.
1984.
84?
Last time they won the
Show
World
off.
Series.
Show off.
And in full disclosure,
Lucky guess, man.
Steve said 1968 before we came on the air, so he was just guessing World Series years, I'm guessing.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
But,
you,
so
you,
yeah.
you got 40 wins in the first 60 games.
You're
going to be in it. You may
Yeah.
not win it, but you'll be in the hunt.
So if that all the good juju bodes well for us, then we'll be talking about the Tigers well into October.
Good, good,
And then
good.
one more quick thing coming up on, I got to pull up my notes here. Coming up on June 27th, doors will open at 11:45 in the Edison Room. You can come see us in person. We're going to do our Sports Guys show on Friday, June 27th in the Edison Room. It will air on CTV as it always does, but we will be right front and center in the Edison Room, and we'll have a special guest with us for the second half of that show, Pete Krupski, who's the voice of the National Team Development Program at USA Hockey.
Nice.
Will be in, and June 27th, coincidentally, is also the day of the NHL's first round of their draft.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
okay.
we will be able to talk to Pete about all of the players coming out of the program in Plymouth who are going to be drafted later that
Beautiful,
night.
Beautiful.
He's a really knowledgeable guy. He's been calling games at CompuWare Arena. USA Hockey Arena, it was CompuWare, basically almost all of my life. He was the voice
my.
of the Plymouth Whalers.
Oh, wow. That's going
before
back.
he was the voice of the NTDP. I like to say he came with the building when USA Hockey bought the building.
Hey, do we have to use makeup then when we're going in there?
I will talk to my bosses and see if that's in the budget.
I know the answer.
If not, find yourself. Maybe Michaeline can throw you
Okay,
some.
okay.
Because
cool.
we all need a little. Maybe
all
I'll
need a lot.
maybe
We
I'll
all need a
actually
lot.
shave
No.
for the
No,
special
no,
guest.
no.
And then coming up in July, our summer series continues on July 18th. Same time, same place. Kara Wolfbauer has agreed to come on. She is the reporter for the Detroit Tigers radio network. She's a good friend of mine.
Cool.
So she's going to come on and talk to us about the Tigers' improbable run last year. And she actually was the in-stadium hostess last year, and she got a promotion
Yeah,
this year. So
there
now
you go.
she's doing the post-game interviews on Tigers radio with Dan Dickerson and Bobby Scales and Andy Dirks and all those guys.
Who was on yesterday? Who was the announcer yesterday?
On radio,
No, on
TV, it was Dickerson.
And the other person.
Yeah, so for Roku games, they pick normally it's the home team's announcer, one of the home team's announcer.
Okay, that's why I
and then,
didn't know.
And then an analyst from the visiting team.
Okay.
So that way you get the perspective of both teams.
Yeah, you got it.
And
I
it's
tell
not
you.
some guys from New York or LA that know nothing about your team.
Yeah.
Which I really like. And what's cool is because Dan Dickerson was doing TV yesterday, Jason Benetti was on the radio.
Oh.
So I got to hear Jason do baseball on the radio, which was fantastic. We have two of the best announcers in the country,
So smooth.
bar none. I mean, nobody's as good as Ernie or
Yeah.
Vin Scully, but Dan Dickerson and Jason Benetti, we are so blessed in this town.
Nice.
And that's not just me sucking up to see if they'll come and be on our show.
But just in
But
case.
if, you know,
if
I'll
it
set
works,
up, I'll
hey,
set up a Zoom call from wherever they're at, or whatever. Maybe we can get John Keating to come on. He's not doing anything. He's retired. But no, Kara Wolfbauer, one of my good friends, will be on the show in July, and I'm looking forward to that. And we're still looking for a guest to join us for our third show in August. Hopefully we can get somebody from the Lions to come in and talk about the preseason
Cool.
and the
Good
Hall of
job.
Fame game. Well, that's an excellent idea, Rod. We'll have to get after him, see if we can get him on the air. I don't know, his budget. He might be a little out of our budget.
There you go.
These two are doing this out of the kindness of their hearts and because they know me.
There you go. It doesn't hurt to know
So,
somebody.
but
Well, I know that a lot of these guys on the side make money by sending
yeah,
emails
and
or,
birthdays.
or
And
cards
birthdays for you.
because I got a message from Dan Dickerson
oh, how cool!
on my 90th birthday.
Nice.
And yesterday, I got a message from the guy. Oh gosh, I know. He plays Klinger on MASH.
Jamie Farr.
Jamie Farr.
Yeah, you know him.
sent
Jamie
me-
Farr grew up in Toledo.
I was going to say.
Giant Mud Hens fan. Huge Mud Hens fan. In
That's
fact, he
what I know.
mentions it in the show.
Oh yeah, he was. Toledo on. He talks about Tony Pacos and Toledo.
Have y'all ever been to Tony Paco's? Not to go off
Yes.
on a tangent, but we got time. Tony Paco's is incredible food, just for the
Yes.
record.
It's a great place to go.
Yeah.
And Toledo's a great place to see a ball game.
Never seen that, but we've gone.
Yeah, I mean, minor league baseball is great. Tickets are cheap. If you get there early enough, I took my dad last season, 2 seasons ago. We literally parked in a corner lot, and we had good seats. It was like 800 steps from our car door
Oh,
to
that's
our
good
seats.
for
It
you,
was
yeah.
incredible. Wow. But yeah, we've gone off on so many tangents. But on that note, on Jamie Farr, I'm Christian. He's Steve. That's Chuck and Rod. Thanks to our stage manager Kermit and Michael Lean, our director. I'm Christian Gibbons. We will see you all next week. And then don't forget, next Friday, June 27th, join us in the Edison Room. We'll have a special guest. We'll see you all next week.
Bye-bye now.
Have a great day.
Hi, everybody. I'm Pete Krupski, the voice of USA Hockey's National Team Development Program. You're watching CTV Sports.